before Thanksgiving. I don't really know when this episode will come out. It'll probably come out the day after Thanksgiving, which will be Friday. But yesterday, Andrew and I went and bought a Christmas tree. And I didn't know it's a real Christmas tree. I've never had a real Christmas tree. When we sold our house, shoot, it's been 5 years ago now. I guess 5 years ago. We got rid of our old Christmas tree that we had for like, I guess 20 years ago. 20 years now. And so I got a real Christmas tree. I went to Lowe's because I knew I needed a stand. And I'm glad I went to Lowe's. There was a lady who was cutting down she was cutting trees, which they have trees out there. And I just went and I said, "Listen, can I get a tree?" She's like, "Yeah, just bring it in and we'll cut it for you." I'm like, "The tree's already cut. What are you talking about?"
What was she talking about?
Well, apparently they sit outside and they develop some kind of I don't know, not a growth, but
Fungus?
no, like
Bacteria?
they just they have to be fresh cut at the bottom.
Okay, I think I've
And
heard that before.
So they bring it in. When you bring it in, you pick your tree, you bring it in, they cut it at the bottom for you, and then you got to take it home within like 30 minutes to put it in water. And she told me all that. I'm like, I didn't even realize that. I thought you just get a tree.
Yeah, and it just slowly died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've never bought a real tree.
so the tree had a tag on it that said, "We recommend getting a stand. We recommend getting tree nutrients." And I asked the lady, I'm like, the lady was really good. She's like I don't know, some kind of foreigner. I don't remember. I mean, she spoke English, but she was super nice, like tree expert. I don't know where I found her, but she told me a lot. I was like, "So where do I get the tree nutrients?" She's like, she looked around and she said, "You don't need any of that. You just need a tree stand if you don't have one, and you just feed it some water. And the best thing, true nutrients is going to cost you a whole bunch of money. All you need to do is if you have aspirin, put some aspirin, like one aspirin a day." I can't remember if she said a day or a week. Put an aspirin a day, I think.
Probably because Andrew said the water was already soaked up from last night. Yeah.
She said the tree soaks up water like crazy.
That's weird. Aspirin.
All this stuff I never knew about having a tree.
Yeah.
And I got so sap everywhere.
Yeah. Like Chevy Chase turning your pages. Yeah, I never knew that. We always buy we have a plastic tree or whatever, fake one. So no aspirin for that one, but that's weird.
Yeah. So where are we at in
Matthew? Oh, did you want to talk about what we were talking about the other day? Or unless you had something else.
Oh no. I was definitely talk about what the thing that you were talking about.
Okay.
Like the last last episode we did on top of a mountain, and we
Oh
had
yeah.
some.
Oh, that was the last one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, I'm not gonna say it was a mistake. It was learning. It's much easier to do an episode um, inside because
Yeah.
of wind noise and road noise. Sound is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how they somehow they do it.
I know.
People do it, but I don't know how.
I am by no means any good at this. I have no idea what I'm doing. But
Yeah. When you said that's the day before Thanksgiving, I wish we could have had something a little more Thanksgiving-y, but it is. I mean, everything is
well, I know that
Thanks-
maybe we can do an episode before Christmas. You know, there's a lot in Matthew talking about
yeah.
Christmas. You know, well,
Yep.
the birth of Christ. So maybe we do talk about that on the next episode.
Maybe that. Yeah. We should do that. Maybe the girls can do a skit.
Yeah, man.
Nativity skit.
I thought about doing a little Christmas
Kids.
play. So much I would love to do, but run into time
Yeah.
problems, especially this cross country. Cross country season's over, but it was a really good season.
Oh, yeah. The girls don't want it to end, so
That race last weekend was awesome. Fun.
Let's see. So I was reading through. I read through Matthew, but then I kind of skimmed over I had to skim over it, but through Matthew it didn't catch my eye, and I started reading through Mark. The same story, but when I was reading through Mark for whatever, it kind of caught my eye. And I just wanted to kind of share it. So in Mark 5, chapter 5.
Mark.
Yeah.
Chapter 5.
So this takes place right after Jesus comes to sea. Him and his disciples go into a boat, cross the sea, and there's a well, you know the story. The storm comes up, and Jesus tells it, "Peace, be still," and the waters obey him. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. The next thing is what I want to talk about in chapter 5 in Mark, and it's also in Matthew 8 and Luke chapter 8, and I'll probably go back and forth. But so it's the next morning, and they arrive to the other side of the sea in the country of the Gadarenes.
Gadarenes.
Yeah. So that's what I want to talk about. So I don't know if I should read all this or just talk about it.
On 5?
Yeah. But so basically, I'll just read it. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwellings among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. Oh, another thing was weird. I was reading this I think it was Sunday morning of Halloween.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was kind of strange. I was like, oh, this is
Kind of like
perfect Halloween reading. But anyway, so because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken into pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him, And he cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, Jesus said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. And this is the Legion saying, Please don't send me away. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. And all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into those swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down to a steep place into the sea. And they were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea. And they that fed the swine fled and told it to the city and in the country, and they went out to see what it was that was done. And they came to Jesus. This is the city coming to Jesus to see what was done, and see him. And they saw the one that was possessed with the devil, who had the legion. He was sitting and clothed, and in his right mind, sitting there beside Jesus. And they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how to befell to him that was possessed with the devil. They told him what happened to the one that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And this is what caught my eye, and it says, And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. So, first of all, I was thinking, if you saw something like that, that's pretty crazy. Seeing a legion of demons being took out of somebody and put into pigs, thousands of pigs, and then swine, and then drove off a cliff into the sea.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary, so that's understandable that they were afraid. But so I kept reading. I think in Matthew I'm not sure, but for some reason I never relate because they leave, and that's when I usually probably stop reading, and then I'll pick up like days or weeks later. So I never put the two together. So I wanted to contrast that with what happens next. So these people are praying to Jesus to leave because they're scared of what he can do. They've never seen anything like that. Like, they're frightened.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty frightening event. But and then also, I don't know, he ran their pigs off the. So they probably lost some money or value or whatever.
Yeah.
So
lost their bacon.
Yeah. So he didn't go into that country. So he leaves. So I wanted to pick back up in Luke. Well, you can read it through Mark, but in Luke records in chapter something that I want to. So he leaves. So and another thing is, the guy that Jesus healed is begging to go with Jesus, versus the people of the town praying him to leave. Okay, so he's begging to leave, and Jesus says, Return to thine own house, and show how great things God hath done unto thee. And he went his way and published throughout the whole city how great things Jesus had done unto him. Okay, so the next verse. So Jesus leaves because they're praying for him to leave. They don't want him there, so he leaves. And it came to pass that when Jesus was returned, so he gets in the ship, goes back to Capernaum. When he was returned to Capernaum, the people gladly received him, and they were all waiting for him.
He went back to his town?
Yeah, back to Capernaum.
Capernaum. What verse was that?
That
In
was
Luke,
verse 40.
verse
Luke
oh,
chapter 8, verse 40.
Luke chapter 8, verse 40.
Yeah. So that caught my eye. Okay, here's it. Because what happens next versus nothing happened in that country, but versus the people that gladly receive him. So then I went back to Matthew 8, which records the same story.
Matthew 8.
So what happens next? So he comes into here and he heals a person with the palsy, and then he meets up with Jairus, a leader in the synagogue. It says, and his daughter was dying. Okay, so he said, "Okay, well, I'll come and help you." But on the way there, that's when the woman with the blood, it says she has a disease of the blood.
Yeah.
And that's when like he's walking through a big huge crowd, and she said she had faith, and she reached out and touched the back of his garment, and then he stopped, and he's like, "Who touched me?" And then the disciples are, "What are you talking about? There's like the crowd's all around you." And then he's like, "Well, um I felt someone touch me, I felt the faith." And he turns around and he heals this and tells the woman that faith has healed you. And so then he goes to Jairus' house, but on the way, people say, "Well, there's no use in going there. Your daughter already died." Jairus' daughter already died, but he says, "Oh, little faith. Oh, you have little faith," and he goes, and he's like, "What are y'all worried about?" Which is pretty awesome because he had no doubt that he could go in there and bring her back to life, and so he goes in there and he brings his daughter back to life, and then, which is awesome. And then he keeps going, and then so Matthew records right here. It says, "And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people." So all that could have happened in Gadarene is what I thought, what I was thinking. But they prayed him to leave, like they rejected him. But then he crossed the sea, and the people who gladly received him, that all those miracles and all those blessings, you know. But that's what I was my thing. Like I was thinking, like I've never noticed that. Like, which I mean, I know it's obvious. Like you reject Jesus, you don't get what he offers. But
Yeah.
it's just I started thinking about like that. Like how many times have I missed out on like some blessings or other people because I've rejected what he wants. Like he's like say like he's, I don't know, something like even simple as giving more on your tithe or something. Like maybe I feel like church has a need or something, and I feel like I should have gave some money, but I didn't. And it would have helped. Or that's just a simple example, but there's all kind of things um, like we were talking about Jason, our cousin. Like he had the opportunity to go sing with the Blackwood group.
Yeah.
Like if he would,
He did it.
yeah, if he didn't do that, he would have missed out on a huge blessing. And then not only him, but all the people that go and listen to him. Like these people that prayed for Jesus to leave, they didn't only like hurt themselves; they hurt all those sick people in that country, all those people that needed help. Because everybody needs something. I mean, you don't have to have a disease. Everybody's suffering from some kind of something. Um, but anyway, uh, that was a long. That was a lot of stuff just to say that.
No, I mean it's a lot of times you read and you it takes that long or that much reading to finally
Yeah.
get something revealed to you like that. But
I'll underline, and I think okay. And then there was one more thing. Okay, so then he went back to his own country. And this is where he says a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country. Because he was doing miracles, and there's like, who's he? We know that he's the son of Mary and Joseph. He's just the carpenter. They're like, don't give him any respect because they saw him growing up and all that stuff. And like, now he's saying he's the Messiah. But the next verse says, and he could there do no mighty work, save that he laid his hands upon a few sick folk and healed them, and he marveled because of their unbelief. So, like, I guess that was my other thing. Like, I guess he could have went into that country, but if that whole country was full of people that wasn't able to receive him, they had unbelief, then he would have not had any miracles done anyway. But
right.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
I mean, it
but
takes faith.
yeah. So I guess I'm just trying to. I just thought that was something I just noticed that was, like, just made me think about my own self, like how, like, make me kind of more aware, or if, like, when I think that maybe the Lord is wanting me to do something, even just say something to somebody or whatever.
Yeah, it's always
Just kind of
it's
think more
hard
about it.
to, I guess, commit or not commit. I don't know. Yeah, like somebody asks you to do something and you really know that you should, but you just don't want to. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know how to say it, but
Yeah. No. Trying
well, with me doing this podcast, when I wanted to start this podcast, I knew I wanted to do something. I mean, I've been doing this YouTube thing just for fun for a long time. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at making videos, but um, I'm not working. So, but then I just kept having this calling that I wanted to do something for the Lord, and I don't know who was telling me that it would never work, like the podcast would never work. You can't do it. You can't do a podcast, or you know,
that was me.
maybe it was, well, maybe it
I'm
was
just kidding.
just in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just me in my own head telling me, to basically, I was too scared to do it, too scared to go online and, talk about uh,
Yeah.
the Bible, talk about Jesus, tell others about Jesus. Um, but this is a way to do it, especially nowadays. Uh, and it it takes a lot of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a lot of scary stuff. Just like those people, like, they were scared
Yeah.
of what, but like we could be scared of what people might think, or
Yeah,
or
you
even
get a
like
lot of.
losing money or losing time off our running. I'm just kidding.
I mean, this podcast hasn't taken off yet, but it will.
One day. Yeah.
But once it does, you will get a lot of
Yeah.
bad comments and people like really trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, stay.
That's
So
when you know you're doing something right.
yeah. So like Wes and I went Sunday. We did the knocking on door thing, the first one,
Yeah,
and
see, you talked about that with me. I mean, you
yeah,
didn't
like
invite me,
well,
which I'm kind of glad, but like that scares
yeah,
the doo doo out of me because I don't think that I am like I got a lot of
yeah. I'm the same way.
I
I'm
I'm just not
not a
that
talker.
strong in my faith yet
Me either.
to
So
be able to knock on doors. I mean, I
yeah,
guess I am. Like I can talk to people about Jesus, about the Bible, but there's just something that scares me about
yeah,
knocking on doors. Maybe it's the shotgun
yeah.
that's gonna meet me.
Well, it was not. I mean, Wes and I were talking about that. We feel the same way, but he's been wanting to do it for like he's been talking about doing it for like since I've ever known him, and finally it just like kind of works out there where the church is now because it's near that big neighborhood. But so we went out. So we were gonna do it Saturday, but we couldn't because of Santa Scramble. I forgot about that. So I was like, "Do you mind moving it to Sunday? We can do it." And so it's like, "Yeah." But then I was like, "Well, Sunday at 4." And I was thinking, man, that's like when everybody's football games are like in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Everybody's gonna hate us knocking on the doors at that time. So we had all kind of reasons, just like these people, to be scared of that and say, "Ah, nah." But man, we went out, and most people were like, just say, "Oh, okay, just whatever, bye," and they, pretty much. But there were a few. There was this one woman that, or girl, young lady that we rung her doorbell. I could see through a window, and she had come running to the door. I could see her running through the house, and she opened it, and she was like, so it was almost like she was waiting on somebody to come, and she was like, she almost started crying, and she said she was from Mormon background, but she didn't believe any of that really, and she was looking for information about like Christianity and stuff. And it was
really.
like almost like, so if we would have not, if we would have did like these people and said we didn't want to go out at that time, it was a bad idea or whatever, or door knocking doesn't work, which is in my mind all the time. But when you go across somebody like that, just for that one person,
Yeah,
that was worth it. And so like we got a blessing out of that, and hopefully she does, and just like Capernaum did, because they happily received him. But anyway, that was a good experience Sunday, and it kind of went along with this. So
so
hopefully, so we're gonna start doing it.
how many doors did you knock on?
We went down. So we only did an hour. We went down one cul-de-sac. I'd say about, I'd say 20 maybe.
So out of 20, how many? It was just that one girl that kind of.
No, there was one guy that came out and he was ready to debate us. He
Oh,
came out
really?
in full debate mode. Uh,
The
but
debate
but
on the
he was real
negative
nice, and he
side?
accepted a lot of the stuff, and he took what we gave him, and he said he was gonna read what we gave him and everything, and
That's
we're gonna
what
revisit
that's what
also these people.
that's what I was talking about, that I don't think that I'm strong enough
No, we weren't
yet.
either.
Well,
Which,
because in a debate like that, if somebody come out and they're really very educated
yeah, that's
on the
who this was.
on
Yeah,
the like say atheist side,
yeah,
and they try and debate me, like I've read the Bible all my life, but I haven't retained.
yeah. I'm not ready to debate, and I don't
I
want to.
couldn't. I couldn't.
I'm not that guy.
I mean, I
So
can share Jesus, but I can't debate the Bible
no,
like an
yes,
atheist can probably debate on their side.
yeah. Neither one of
Like,
us tried to. We just shared what we had and let him do his thing, and then I mean, I think it worked that we didn't try to debate him.
I
So
want to get there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever
I mean, I don't
be to the
really
debate
look
level,
forward
but
to debating
I
somebody
don't
like
want.
that,
I
but
really don't want to, but
I just want to get stronger in my faith and stronger in my
yeah. So
biblical, I mean, my scripture reading.
yeah, I was just glad Wes was there because he's better at speaking and everything. So but anyway, that was what I had, what I was telling you about. So
All right, well, I guess, yeah, that was pretty good. Next episode, I think, is going to be about the birth of Jesus, and maybe we'll get the kids in on it. And if my dad is watching, he'll probably be watching on Friday, and he's going to do a half marathon in Florida. So good luck with that.
good. I'd like to do that one year,
Uh,
maybe next year. Cocoa Beach.
yeah, let's just go ahead and put it on the calendar. I
Yeah,
got my calendar over there, but nothing's on it. I There's some stuff I got on schedule, but that calendar has been updated in
it's
a
actually
long
a
time.
perfect little trip because already off work for.
Heck yeah. Well, yeah, we could do Thanksgiving down in Florida next year.
Is it on Thanksgiving Day?
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
the day after, a couple days after.
Yeah, that'd work.
All right.
All right. Well, later.
Adios.